will any players get lost on the way to the stadium? If that doesn't happen, they're going 12-0. Period. I don't need to go with a lot of explanation, but they're going to be a double-digit favorite in every game this season. I don't want to speak the I word into existence. So, basically just making sure that player welfare is fine and that nobody gets lost on the way to the stadium. I don't know if I'm going to see a team coming off of a shortened season, a season that was canceled and brought back and shortened and had the rivalry game canceled and everything else and ended with the disappointment of losing in the championship game. I don't know if I see an Iowa or a Purdue happening there. I think as long as Ohio State shows up and all 85 scholarship players are there on every Saturday, barring the first week, which is a Thursday, I think they should be fine. So, maybe I'm being just a little too fun and a little too whimsical with my answer, but as soon as we talked about it in the pre-show meeting, that was the first thing that came to mind, and I'm not moving off of it.
Tony.
Show me the interception statistics for the Ohio State defense, because in 2014 they averaged over 1.6 per game. 2016 they averaged over 1.6 per game. 2019 about 1.1 per game. If they're around 1.5 per game, that would make me feel really good about the secondary and this defense as a whole, because I think that's maybe that's what will separate them from 12-0 and 15-0, that sort of thing, or 13-0 and 15-0, where do they have the defense to hold up? Do they have a playmaking secondary like they did in 2016, like they did in 2019? Are they in 2014, of course, with Von Bell and those guys? And so if they have that, if you can tell me that, and they're at like 1.5 or 1.6 interceptions per game, I'm going to feel really good about this team's chances of winning it all, knowing that you still have to outscore everybody, and this is an offensive game. But also, if you can break serve a couple of times against the best offenses, then maybe your 42 points will beat their 35.
So if that second bit of information, Tony, I gave you was that they picked off Noah Vedral 7 times, and that skewed the average.
Well, I mean, that's probably factored. I'm sure that happened in 2014 and 2016 as well. Like, how many times did they pick off Wilton Spate? I mean, sometimes you have, sometimes you skew the stats with one bad quarterback.
Steve.
Yeah, my stat, as I pick out my Phil Steele book, in the last, he's got 7 years worth of stats here. And generally every year, Ohio State is between 98 and 150 yards allowed on the ground, and usually it's closer to 120. So they're usually one of the best teams in the country, rush defense, and I think that'll probably continue just because that's so ingrained in what they do. But I think last year the defensive passing yardage number got all the way up to 304 yards per game, and we saw Indiana 491, Clemson 400, and Alabama 464. Those numbers seemed to me be a little bit out of whack. So my number is, if they can hold the opposing offense to, let's say, most of these years they're under 200 yards allowed. They're right around in the 180s to 190s in passing. If they can hold, let's just be conservative and say if they can hold the opposing offense to 240 yards passing, I would consider that to be a major step forward in improvement. That's one whole touchdown drive, basically less per game, let's just say. So I'm going to say, are they going to be under split the middle, under 235 yards passing allowed per game? That to me is a big indicator, because what that'll tell us is, they did a great job against the bad teams, probably held them to 100 or 150, and kept the good teams probably under 300, which is important. So to me, that'd be kind of what I would look at.
I was pretty astounded this week. Oh, go ahead, Tony.
I just throw another one in there. Let me know
Absolutely.
the combined sack numbers for Zach Harrison and Tyreek Smith. Because if it's 4, I'm concerned. If it's 20, look out.
Makes total sense. Kevin, I expected no less out of you. Steve, Tony, I expected no less out of you. That's you guys all delivered in your own way. Very nice. I appreciate those. I think they were very insightful in their responses. And if you checked out Kevin Noon's Big Ten predictions, whether that be on our show or on Buckeye Grove, they're right in line with the comment that he just made a few minutes ago regarding how he sees the Big Ten. I jumped the gun a little bit on this. So we got our folks at tristatesketch.com, and they surprised me with this recently. And so that's a sketch that they put on wood, and I didn't know that this was coming. So they sketched that for me and a few other things and said, hey, Mark, do you like our work? And so absolutely, and gave me about 8 or 10 examples. So what you do is you grab a photo that you like, you send it to the folks there at tristatesketch.com, and you select your design, both with the photo and what you would like it placed on, and they do some tremendous work. And again, I've seen 10 or 12 examples of it, and it's pretty astonishing how accurate their sketches are. So check out their work there at tristatesketch.com.